Hello everybody, my name is Luke Mar and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are getting into the Brit Awards 2020 red carpet. But before we get any further into the video, if you guys are looking for a channel that talks about fashion in the most fun, sassy, bitchy, analytical way this is it, you can go down below, hit the subscribe button, and turn on my post notifications. I mean, like, what do you have to lose? You're already here. And if you guys want to see more from me, you can follow me on any of my social medias linked down below. And if you guys want to check out the Fashion Victims podcast that I host with my friend Darnell Jamal, you can also find that in the description box too. It's a good one. We have a good time. We enjoy ourselves. So if you guys do not know, the Brit Awards essentially like celebrates British music. I'm pretty positive. I don't actually watch any award shows, but I do, watch the red carpet, so we're gonna be talking about it. So there is, quite frankly, a good little mixture of some of the biggest music stars today and some of the more niche and young and up-and-coming celebrities from around the UK as well. So I'm actually super excited to talk about the Brit Awards, so let's just get right into it. So first up is Aboah, and now Adwoa is wearing Vivienne Westwood from what I understand. I don't love it. I don't really love the fit of it. It honestly feels just a tiny bit baggy, and I understand that it's meant to be draped in this way. It's Westwood. I just don't think it's amazing. I also would have loved this dress if it was just one big, sort of draped strap. But no, we have to add a weird spaghetti strap on the other side, and I understand it's like maybe mixing like the 90s when Westwood, was at her prime and everybody loved her and was obsessed with her, but also didn't really look that good. I just think that one shoulder would have been much better than having the spaghetti strap there. It just totally throws it off for me. And then on top of that, that one shoulder is quite strangely draped. Like, it doesn't kind of cut across, the collar here. Instead, it kind of goes around and sort of creates like a shape around the armpit. So I think making that a one shoulder experience is imperative to this looking good, and adding that tiny little baby spaghetti strap, no, it just totally throws off the game, and it's unfortunate to say the very, very least. Next up is Anne Marie, who I've no idea who that is. I'm sorry to the UK. But she's wearing this very pretty princess, a very modern take on like 18th century garb. She has this full satin mini dress with a gigantic bow train that is double facing. So the outward facing side of the fabric is this pink. It's very bright. It's very, Marie Antoinette by Sofia Coppola sort of vibes. And then on the inner side of the fabric is this very light blue, which in reality is quite Rococo, is quite 18th century French royal court. So I can actually see that reference coming in. I don't think it looks particularly luxurious, but the reference is noted and appreciated. So then you also have like the big jewels and the little tiara. Like, it really, she's playing into this whole princess sort of style. I think there's a lot going on, which I understand is like part of the storyline here, but also like it doesn't look very luxury. That fabric is wrinkling and crinkling and frinkling and stinkling, and it just doesn't look great in a lot of places. On top of that, that corset, that little strapless corset with a little tri-strap and a little, blue bow. You can see all the boning in the corset, and the fabric is showcasing the boning. And like, sometimes the boning looks good. Like if you're doing a mugler where it's meant to be a sort of boning that you're meant to see because it's meant to be based on performance wear and it's beautiful lines and all that stuff there. That's great. But here, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look super luxury. It looks like, holy shit, the fabric is so cheap that the boning is coming through. And you don't want that. That's not what you want when you're not trying to make that happen. Now, I haven't seen the full gigantic bow at the back, but I like the idea of it. I like the idea of the bow sort of creating a train, which is different than what has been on the red carpet for the most part over the past few years. So I can appreciate that. And I do like the idea of, the fabrics playing into each other. It's very Rococo. It's very color scheme of that 18th century, as we mentioned previously. So I do like the color combination. I do like the referencing here. I appreciate where she's going. I think they just need to take it that one step further and cement it as luxurious looking in order for the look to really, really come together. Because unfortunately, it does look very costumey, and we want it to be more high fashion, luxury fabrics, like beautiful construction. And then I think she would be at a level that, you know, rivals some of the big contemporaries today. Next up is Ashley Roberts, and she is wearing, I don't know, but I do know that I wish I had a body like that. Here's the thing, this style of like the little sort of bandeau top, and then having this quite, you know, draped in the center, sort of low sarong-esque skirt, definitely is having a moment. Emily Ratajkowski is like no, she's not the originator, but like, you know, she has been really pushing the trend forward. And the thing is, I actually like that style of dress. I personally really enjoy it. I think if you have the body to show it off, do it. I'm here for it. I will never have that, but I appreciate and will live vicariously through you living that lifestyle. Because listen, a girl loves her McDonald's way too much. Here, I don't think it's great. I think that the fabric just looks a bit cheap. It looks very Fashion Nova, and like the girls have to get out of this mindset that the Fashion Nova look is cool. I understand it's going to be a big part of the 2010s and remembered as a big part of the late 2010s, but like, we're in 2020. Like, let's move out of that lifestyle. Let's get away from that, because it's very not fun and not enjoyable, because the fabric just looks cheap. It literally looks like cheap. I can see the hem of the bandeau up close, and like it's unfinished, looks lopsided, and then on top of that you have this skirt, and like I just don't think that color is great. I don't think it looks good. I don't think it looks enjoyable. I think we should change that immediately. Thank you. Next up is Ashnikko, and she is wearing Weslah. I'm actually so happy to see Weslah on the red carpet. I really love Weslah. It does sort of go more into that sort of club kid, sort of young, up and coming, miscellaneous celebrity or fashion genre. It's really appreciated to see it on the red carpet. I actually also like the entire look in terms of a concept. I do not like the two baby face people in the jumpsuits holding her hair. I think that's so stupid. Like, listen, you could have actually had such an amazing, wonderful moment where you had this gigantic blue wig that is like so anime, so chic, Sailor Moon transformation, and then you have this full like blue look. You have a little like thong over your pant. Like, it could have been really cool, but I think you like trying to ham it up with these random people that nobody gives a shit about literally takes it from, oh my god, this is so cool, to, oh, she's trying far too hard to like make a statement. And then you lose us all. Because in reality, this look could have been so superb and so wonderful, but you tried to like do some stupid gimmick and it totally ruins the experience. What was the reason?
What was the reason?
This Weslah, you know, bodice. See, remember I was talking about if I can see the boning of the corset, I want to make sure that it actually is meant to be seen and is done beautifully. And I think Weslah is a great example of corsetry that is done, you know, sort of modern and cleanly and done to actually be seen. Normally, Weslah will take actual letters and put it across the bodice of his dresses or his shirts or corsets. And here, I was trying to figure out what it says, because sometimes it will say obsession, sometimes it'll say like other, you know, sort of very like edgy things. Here it says Ashnikko, which I didn't realize until right now, but I do know that it's a signature of the brand to have these very drawn out letters, actually, you know, in the silver sort of sequiny, you know, fabric, pasted across the bodice. So I actually think it's really, really cool that it's done here. The one thing I will say is I love the one sleeve, but I wish that it had been done on the other sleeve. Like, I'm just, you know, I like the one sleeve. I like the velvet. I like the little extra nail sort of things coming off. I just wish it had been done on both sides. I feel like that would have made it even cooler. On top of that, you have a blue sort of velvet pant. And on top of that is a black little thong. It is continuing that sort of printed, you know, font over the Weslah piece. You know, listen, they're tying in the house codes. We love to see it. I do sort of wish it was in maybe like a lighter blue. I just think maybe the black is not the best. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if we had done it in a blue, it would have been better. But you know what? I will take it because the other girls are not taking risks like that. And then the boots, can't really see much of them, but there's some sort of platform. And in reality, I do really like where this is going. I think it's ruined by the gimmick, but I like that she's wearing Weslah. I like that she's doing this crazy hair moment. I like that she's having an actual moment on a red carpet that is strange and ridiculous and over the top. Next up is Billie Eilish in Burberry. She looks like a cream puff. I hate this so much. I think it is awful. It's like just getting worse and worse every time I see it now. This look particularly is dreadful. Burberry, I think on its own is pretty rough. And not just pretty rough, it's quite frankly awful. But this is not good. I do not like key ring, piping all over the trench coat. I don't like the velvet sweatsuit at all. I don't think the Burberry socks are nice. I don't like the shoes. Like the bonnet, it didn't look great last time. I don't know why we thought it was gonna look good this time. I respect that she's wearing a British designer, but also like, to me, Riccardo Tisci at Burberry is so nonsensical that I'd rather she actually had worked with a cool young British designer. There are so many too. Like, you don't have to just work with Burberry, and I'm sure they're working with Burberry because Burberry has the dollars to pay for it. Because I mean, now she literally only works with Chanel, Gucci, or Burberry at this point. And it's kind of like, work with younger, cooler brands because they really exist. Like, imagine her and Kiko Konstantinov. That would be so good. It would be so good. And it's a young London-based brand. Like, that would be amazing, but where is that? To me, her and her stylist are really not pushing it. They're really not pushing it whatsoever. To me, it's gotten lazy. It's gotten just sort of ridiculous. And I just don't think that they're actually trying hard enough. Working with Maddie Bovin, Charles Jeffries' lover boy, Molly Goddard, Simone Rocha, like, there is a possibility to actually make some really cool moments happen, and they continue to disappoint, and that's my issue. Like, imagine if you wore Simone Rocha, like, that is such an easy combination to me. Like, there are so many amazing looks that don't even require a dress. Or maybe they require a dress, but it's a dress over a pant. And it actually is like beautiful. It's amazing. It actually has some real depth. Rather than I'm just gonna put a logo on and that's all I'm gonna do, because that's all she's doing. Like, people can say, oh, it's not a Chanel, logo, or it's not a Gucci double G monogram, but it's the Burberry plaid literally everywhere. Like, it's no different than everything else that she does. And I'd actually really like to see something different happen for once, because in reality, it's tired. And my thing is, I think an amazing artist like her really, truly should be pushing fashion in this new direction as well. Because listen, as much as, music is all important and all that kind of stuff, the most iconic singers of our time have moved the fashion needle forward as much as they moved the music needle forward. So you can say whatever you want, but if you want to be like Beyonce, Rihanna, Gaga, Madonna, all of those people in that legendary status, make the fashion move to help you push you in that direction. Next up is Burna Boy, and he's wearing Bottega Veneta, and like, I love to see it. I really do. I love this beautiful Bottega Veneta woven moment. If you guys do not know, this is a coat based on the actual Bottega Veneta like woven leather style that they do a lot of their bags in. It's very much so a big part of the brand. And Daniel Lee, for those of you who do not know, has really incorporated that into the ready-wear for Bottega as well, and sort of created a new sort of life for Bottega. So it's actually really cool to see. I love that it's in a puffer coat. I think it's really, really cool. I think it's different. I think that, sort of puffer fabric and style has always been very much so big coats, and it's not really been transformed all that much. It's very rare that a brand that isn't based on puffers sort of taking puffer coats in a really new direction is actually really different and cool and interesting, and so I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see them lending out cool pieces like this. Do more of this, Bottega. Where was this energy for the BTS moment? Where was this energy for the BTS? Honestly, I don't even care really about the outfit underneath, like the pants and the shoes or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm happy with the coat. I love the coat. That's all I want to talk about. That's all I'm gonna talk about. Next up is Charlie XCX in Fendi. It's whatever. Like, she looks good, you know what I mean? Like, it's basic, it's boring, it's been done before, but like, she looks good, so credit for Charli XCX there. I think this silhouette is really nice on her. I actually like this subtle tulle shoulder. I feel like it's a great little way to sort of change up how we see her normally. I also love this sort of big skirt. I also feel like this tulle skirt sort of just creates a really good shape, a really beautiful little silhouette. It's in all black. It's a deep plunging neckline so you can see the girls just a little bit. I think it's a nice little moment for Charli XCX. Do I hope she, pushes herself in the future? Absolutely. But if we have a pretty moment here, and it is truly a pretty moment, I'll take it. Next up is Dermot Kennedy in Dior. I'm not super duper mad about it. I am sort of mad at how oversized the blazer is. I think she's a little bit big, maybe it's just that he has it open and it's a double-breasted, which, I would appreciate if it was closed because it's a bit big, it's a bit baggy, you know what I mean. But I do like the little scarf coming through in that silver coming underneath and sort of creating a little bit of a different sort of dimension for the suit. He's wearing a little t-shirt underneath. I like that little brooch. I think it's very cute. It very much so, I feel like, is a tie-in of Kim Jones's love of Christian Dior and Christian Dior's love of flowers. And I feel like, incorporating Christian Dior's sort of aesthetics into the men's brand is subverting what normally is thought of men's clothing, specifically if you're pulling from, a primarily women's wear designer, or singularly a women's wear designer. So I think that's really cool. I do like the boots. Looking at them up close, maybe I like them less. I like them better when I thought they were all silver, but in reality, they're in that newspaper print, which, was popularized by John Galliano. So, it's important to see that Kim is also referencing other designers from the Dior lineage, which Maria Grazia, who is the women's wear designer of Dior, does as well. So, maybe they're having some design discussions. They're talking back and forth. Maybe Bernard Arnault, who is the owner of Dior, is saying, listen, reference the other girls, bitches. So who actually knows? Next up is Ellie Goulding in Crochet. Now, this immediately I thought was Christopher Kane because it's giving me that FKA Twigs back at the Met Gala sort of look where Christopher Kane had done all these beautiful naked bodies on a dress in lace. It was so cool, still is so cool. So that's what I was instantly reminded of. But here, I think this is much more in, oh no, it's a lace. It's all different color laces as well. I'm sure that Crochet was probably inspired by that look. It's kind of a famous look, but I think they've definitely done a more sort of floral version. It's a lot less nude bodies, like, having a beautiful gigantic orgy all over FKA Twigs' body. It's more so just like pretty flowers and different laces. And it's nice to see that style explored. I feel like it actually looks really, really good on her. I think you're interested in what the actual dress is. And I mean, also, who knows, maybe these laces are actual fabric scraps, which could be really cool and be very sustainable. I don't actually know if that's true. I'm just trying to, hope the best for Crochet and that they're moving in a sustainable direction as a brand. But it would be really cool to see all of these sort of amazing fabric scraps being, turned into something new. There is a designer named Tolu Coker, who is an amazing British designer who you should all check out and who celebrities should be wearing, who actually does these really beautiful, amazing lace pieces that are reused fabric lace scraps that she turns into beautiful portraits of people and redyes them and sort of creates these amazing, wonderful pieces. So, maybe that whole lace sort of refashioning is becoming a trend that we don't know about for the 2020s. Would love to see it. But in reality, I really appreciate this Ellie Goulding moment. I think it's cute. I think it's nice. I think it's a little bit of a different take on that Christopher Kane moment. We're happy to see it. Next up is Finneas in Gucci. Very meh. Like, who cares? I understand maybe he's not really like caring or trying or doesn't really, but I do think the O'Connells need to really get it together, and I think they need to step out a bit more because I think the Gucci and the Chanel and the Burberry it's just getting tired at this point. I think they really need to skedaddle on to the next sort of style and step, or just stop wearing the biggest brands because it gets very tiring very fast, and we'd like to see some actual differentiation between the brands that you're working with, unless you signed a contract, in which case, please, email me and let me know because then I'll, change up the tune. But until I know that you are legally obligated to wear Gucci at all times, I don't want to see Gucci for a hot second. I like to see you like step out and wear a cool menswear designer like Daniel W. Fletcher, Moa Lola, a cold wall, especially British ones, not just the Italians. Next up is FKA Twigs in Ed Marler. If you guys do not know Ed Marler, he has created some of FKA Twigs' other looks that she's worn recently, and I haven't loved them, but this one I'm actually quite interested in. I love this silhouette for her. I like these big leg of mutton sleeves. A leg of mutton sleeve, for those of you who do not know, is essentially a sleeve that is tighter at the bottom of the arm. I don't know the biological name for this part of the arm, but it actually is much more baggy. The leg of mutton sleeve, for those historically wanting to know, it came around at the end of the 19th century and then sort of traveled into the early part of the 20th century. So it is much more of like a historical sort of style. We don't see it a lot today. But I like that it's being explored here. I think it's cute. I think it's a moment. There is this sort of interesting sort of cutaway of this jacket. It has like this nice pop collar, and then it sort of has these cuts that almost makes it look like it's a corset of sorts. But underneath is this little like striped pantaloon and a sort of like tulle wraparound that sort of comes out and creates a train at the back. And then you have this little skirt that's a sort of like low slung hip skirt with a little bow, and it's ruched so that it actually like tightens towards the knee. And I like that it's not full. I like that it's not a full length skirt. I like that it sort of is ruched and pulled and sort of creates, you know, something right at the high calf. I like that. I'm into that. I, love that there's the lace pouring out of the end of the leg of mutton sleeve. I like the pop collar. I like the whole style of it. I think it's cute. I think it's interesting. And I like Ed Marler, and I'd like to see what he can do with other celebrities as well. I think that would be cool. Like, could he be a modern day Bob Mackie? Who knows? I'd like to know. Let's see it. Next up is Hailee Steinfeld in this Fendi moment. It looks like it is a sheer blue dress with these sort of velvet florals sort of, enrapturing and embining themselves all over her body. It has this little sort of keyhole cutout that sort of like twists and turns with the stems and the foliage of the florals, which in reality I think is cool. Do I absolutely love it? No, but I think it's something that's different for Hailee Steinfeld. I do think it's a really different dress for Fendi as well that we don't often see a lot. But I do like this little velvet moment. I like the little collar at the top. It's cute. I do actually like the cut of the dress. The fact that at the top, it's this sort of like billowing bodice that isn't really normal for a lot of red carpets. A lot of red carpets are very tight and bodycon on the bodice, and has these sort of longer flaps that sort of flow and bounce as she moves is really cool. And then the fact that at the waist, it sort of comes in and becomes a tight, very full-length skirt is really interesting. It's a cool dress. Don't really see it a lot and don't really see the style a lot, so good for Hailee Steinfeld getting out there. Next up is Harry Styles. We're going to be talking about 3 of Harry Styles' looks from the Brit Awards. The first one is this actually quite interesting little Gucci suit. So Harry does work with Gucci quite a lot. That really shouldn't be a shock for any of you that actually really enjoy Harry's style. So he's wearing this white lace collar button-up shirt, but the lace collar is the only part that is white, whereas the rest of the shirt is a sort of normal blue button-up shirt. On top of that, he's wearing this purple little knit sweater that I very much so love, and I think pops against that sort of dark maroon or sort of dark wine-ish suit that he's wearing. Instead of a tie, you have this beautiful little pearl necklace that you can barely see, and it looks so good. I'm really interested in the pearl necklace because I think, as many of you probably know, Harry Styles is very out there with his fashion choices, and he has no problem sort of bending the ideals of gender. A lot of celebrities have recently sort of taken on women's wear ideals and, styles and pieces and fabrics and textiles and jewelries and cuts and silhouettes that have normally been associated with women's wear. But I think very few people have actually taken pearls, which in reality holds quite an important place for the idea of women in, I would say, the 20th century. Women clutch their pearls, or women want pearls and want to wear string pearl necklaces. Like, it's very much so associated with women. The fact that Harry's wearing a little pearl necklace is actually kind of crazy, kind of different, something we don't really see a lot from men because, you know, I would never even wear a pearl necklace because I wouldn't really think, oh my God, it would look good on me. I would immediately say, oh, it's just for women. Only women wear pearl necklaces. So it's actually a really cool little moment. Also, he was wearing a black little ribbon that was meant to, from what I understand, be a, you know, remembrance of Caroline Flack, who recently died. She was the host of Love Island, and it sort of took a lot of people in the UK by shock about her passing. So a lot of people have attributed that to a memoriam for her and to raise awareness about things like depression and anxiety, which we also stand. We love a Harry moment. Getting back into the look though, I do love the suit. I think it's really beautiful. I like that the sleeves are short enough that you can see not only the shirt, but also the sweater underneath. I think it's really great. Harry Lambert knows what he's doing. On top of that, I love that the pants, there is no belt. I respect that. I literally am that person. A belt on my pants? Absolutely not. I like the cut too. I feel like normally Harry does like high-waisted and quite baggy, but here this seems as fitted for Harry Styles as we're gonna get in this era. And then on top of that, you have the little cutout shoes with the little knit socks. Don't love them. I don't, but I feel like there are honestly not a lot of Gucci shoes that I love at this moment, so I think I'll take these and just sort of run with it. I really do feel like it's a great subtle moment. The devil here really is in the details, and if you really look up close and see the beauty of it, you see the beauty of it. Moving on, he wore this yellow suit with a purple pussy bow blouse. And for the longest time, I was like, where is that from? I know her. I know her. Where is she? Who is she? It's actually a Marc Jacobs Spring Summer 2020 look. It was confirmed to me by Harry Lambert himself. We love to see it. I also did ask Harry Lambert, who is Harry's stylist, if he was taking any psychedelics during his styling of Harry. No comment, he said. So I tried, people. I promise I tried. I really like this look. I do. I think he looks really, really dashing. I think he looks really, really dapper. And again, he's wearing a woman's look. I know this has been done by Billy Porter, Timothée Chalamet, you know, over 2019 and 2020, but it's really interesting to see on Harry. And I think it looks really, really good on him. I actually really like it. I like the color on him. I like, you know, the ridiculousness of the purple little pussy bow blouse. I think it's cute. I think I'm about it. I would have liked to see the hat, because I know there was a hat attached to the runway look. So I'd like to see the hat somewhere, anywhere. But cute moment, I'm about it. We love to see the girls having fashion moments that we expect and want and deserve. Finally, Harry wore a Gucci lace suit to perform during the Brit Awards. It's actually a high-waisted pair of pants, which is signature Harry Styles. The boy loves a high-waisted pant. It has this beautiful sort of embroidery and floral embroidery all throughout it, which I think is really lovely. And the fact that it's in a lace, which again is very much so associated with women's dress, is really different and really cool and really, really interesting. I like the little bit of the collars that sort of pop out at the ends, and the fact that he's wearing lace gloves too. Like, he's really smart. His style team is really smart, and they're really, really, really doing these subtle little moments that you really have to understand the history of clothing to get. But once you know that, you're like, oh shit, like he's having a moment and it's a cute moment. We're about it. And I even think then it's not like it's totally feminized either, because he's adding in suspenders. Suspenders, which is something that he does wear quite often, is very much so associated with men. Men wear suspenders, and you know, it's really blurring the gender lines in a smart way. It's not just throwing on a dress. It's not just, you know, helping yourself to a skirt here or there. It's actually a really smart little moment that he's having, and that he's, you know, he's doing a good job. I'm proud. I am proud, I have to say. Next up is Iris Law and Christopher Kane. Now, these big ass baubles all over her dress are something. This is a Christopher Kane runway look, from what I know. I don't know. I don't love it. I feel like there are better Christopher Kane looks from the runway to be wearing, in my humblest of opinion. Does she look, you know, fine? Yeah, she looks fine. But I don't think the baubles add any big sort of amazing fashion moment that you were expecting. Would I have loved to seen a jelly boob? Absolutely. Next up is Jorja Smith in Jean-Paul Gaultier, and like, I'm Jean-Paul Gaultier. Thank you very much, Jorja Smith. This looks amazing. Now, this is a jumpsuit that is either from the fall 1995 ready-to-wear collection or is based on the fall 1995 ready-to-wear collection. I actually love it, and I think it's such an amazing collection that, from what I understand, was based on Mad Max. But Jean-Paul Gaultier is such a brilliant mind that, in reality, these polka dots that are in black and red and mixed with this kind of awful yellow that also at the same time sort of is giving me like Yayoi Kusama polka dots actually frames the body so beautifully. I mean, you have the red polka dots that sort of frame the sides and essentially help to create a shape in that color, and that's what a smart designer does. They don't need a belt, they don't need a drape, they don't need a one shoulder. They actually can sculpt the body through the use of textile, color, not just things that are easy to, you know, sort of shape the body with. And here, he's creating a shape through this jumpsuit for whoever is wearing it. And here, it looks great on Jorja Smith because in reality, it's giving her that curvation throughout. Like, it's really smart. This is smart fashion design. And there's a reason that we're all like, what the fuck is happening in fashion right now? Because nobody's making smart fashion design. This is smart fashion design, people. I also love that she has the little matching boots. They're cute. I'm about them. I love it. Listen, she didn't just let it fall off and put on some random awful peep toe. Like, she came through with the full look. It's a full boot experience and we love to see it. I'm really proud. I'm really happy. If the girls are going into the Gaultier archives, I'm sold. I'm here for it. I'm living. Thank you very much. Next up is Joy Crookes, who I don't actually know who she is, but I just wanted to like have this moment on here. I don't really know a lot about Indian dress. I promise I will get into it, and I've been meaning to really learn a lot more about it. But this isn't a sari. I know that. You know, sorry, not sorry. I know that it's not a sorry. But I really love this look. I think it's beautiful. I think it's so wonderful. So it's this sort of little crop top, like cross X sash top, which is beautiful. She has these amazing jeweled, you know, neck pieces going on. And then the top is actually piped in the same little red jewel beads as the necklace, which I think is so cool. We love to see it. The girls are referencing back to the girls. And then she's wearing this like asymmetrical head wrap that has a sleeve. Because look, you can see her arm is coming through it. She has a sleeve in her head wrap. Like, that is so cool. I love that. I actually don't even know who designed this, but I love it. I think it's so beautiful. And then the skirt has this amazing floral sort of, not even embroidery, but like woven. It's woven in there and it's like reflective off the yellow. Like it's gold and yellow and it's mixed and it's beautiful and it has swags at the bottom. Like, this is so cool. This is so cool. This is the fashion moment that I love to see. I don't even know who designed it, but I love it. I'm about it. Joy Crookes, thank you very much for giving us a fashion moment that we can all appreciate. Next up is Lizzo in Moschino, and from what I know, shout out the Kimbino, this is a fall/winter 2014 look that I don't know if it's custom made for Lizzo recently or if it is altered to fit Lizzo. I'm not super duper sure, but it's this sort of like Hershey's bar milk chocolate dress. It's sort of meant to be, you know, a reference back to the wrapping of, you know, famed Hershey's chocolate. It's very Moschino. It's incredibly Moschino, actually. And honestly, if Lizzo wants to go for this like food fashion moment, I love that. I want that for her. Like, imagine if she started wearing like the McDonald's collection from Moschino, or she was doing the Chester Cheetah. Like, that'd be cute. I'd be into that. I'd be sold on that, most definitely. And I mean, maybe she just becomes like a Moschino woman and we stan that completely. Like, imagine if she's doing like the graffiti or the Barbie collection. Like, she could help resuscitate Moschino's legacy, because Lord knows they really need that. I actually don't like the dress. Now, it's not the concept of the dress. I like the concept of the dress. I think that's cute. But when you actually look at an image of the actual dress, I think that the skirt should have been fuller. I think that, you know, fitted on top, I think it's really great. I love that. I do wish there was more, you know, sort of draping and pleating going on at the top, because I think it's just sort of like weirdly strewn across and doesn't really look good. But I actually think the skirt is the worst part about it. I think they should have made the skirt much, much, much fuller. Should have put a lot of netting, tulle, crinoline, whatever they got to put down there to make it fuller, because in reality, the dress should have had more of like a trumpet effect rather than just falling straight down. It just doesn't look good in that manner. I think had they really sort of buffed it up and altered it with a bunch of big, ridiculous, over-the-top sort of tulle in brown, beautiful chocolate brown, you know, jutting out of the bottom and creating this, you know, sort of oversized trumpet silhouette, we would have stand much, much harder. But I really think that had they actually executed it much, much stronger, we would have had even more of a look. But I think she looks beautiful. I love the idea, and I hope to see Lizzo continuing to push her fashion moments like this further in the future. Next up is Mabel in custom Moschino, and like, imagine having the ability to make something custom and you make that. And also, like Mabel, there are so many better British designers to work with. Anybody that's not wearing a British designer, honestly, electric chair. You have that opportunity at the Brit Awards. It says it in the name. I said Brit, we're a Brit. Like, I'm lost. So you then pick out Moschino, an Italian brand done by an American designer. And then you say, oh, I love this red sequin moment where it looks like I have two gigantic turkey necks like dribbling off of my dress. Like, that is not attractive whatsoever. Who told you that was attractive? Who said, oh, you look amazing? Because you don't. You look terrible. It's awful. It's gross and disgusting. It's also Moschino. It's Moschino. Like, a little bit of interest, a little bit of reference, a little bit of comedy here. And I mean, maybe the comedy is that you just look terrible. Maybe that was the joke. Maybe that was the Moschino joke. I don't know. But in reality, this is awful. And custom, imagine spending hours in an atelier to make that monstrosity. Couldn't be me. Next up is Maya James in Ashnikko Bespoke. In reality, is it anything crazy, ridiculous? No, it's a sort of black dress off the shoulder in a, you know, little velvet moment with a little velvet opera glove. A lot of people were saying that this is a reference back to Princess Diana's revenge dress, which, I mean, listen, anybody referencing Princess Diana, you get a star. Oh, a little tidbit. I did hear that Harry's looks were based on British camp and Princess Diana. So, you know, you love to see it. But this Maya Jama moment is, you know, it looks good. It's a pretty moment on her, but besides saying the revenge dress, I'm sort of like, who cares? You know what I mean? Sorry. Next up is Nene Cherry wearing Bottega Veneta, and yeah, listen, I think with Bottega Veneta, if you do not actually incorporate the leathers or the wovens or really bring it back to the Bottega that Daniel Lee has created in terms of accessories and then has brought over to the ready-to-wear, it doesn't look good. It's not interesting. It's not something that you're terribly, you know, wanting to recreate or wanting to buy, in my personal opinion. Like, I don't want to buy a brown short suit now. Like, I'm just like, oh, there it is. You know, I like the boots. I do like the boots, but I do wish that they were higher, you know what I mean? Because there's that, you know, quite tall version of those boots. But I think with Bottega Veneta, you really have to look at the accessories. And I think when Daniel Lee takes the accessories and creates new, interesting ways to make accessories, and when he brings those aesthetics over to the clothing, it's really cool. It's really different. It's really new. But I think just his boring basics, they just don't do anything for me. And also, like, don't wear them on the red carpet. Wear something crazy like Burna Boy. Thank you. Next up is Paloma Faith in Miu Miu. And, you know, it's so Miu Miu. It is boring. It is basic. Although I do like this floral. I don't like the collar. I don't like that little floral cutout collar. But I do like the green and pink little floral embroidery that is all over this dress. I think it's cute. I think it's really simple. I think when you look up close, you're like, oh, pretty little green and pink. Like, I like that. I feel like a lot of the times designers do these very big, oversized, ridiculous, blown up florals and put them all over a dress. But here it's very subtle. It's very, you know, simple, and it's sort of incorporating embroidery into normal prints. So I like that. It's interesting. The fit is whatever to me. I don't think the sleeves are really, really great. They're like very baggy around the armpit moment. I don't think the goddamn not Kentucky Derby. What's the British race? Whatever. The Royal Ascot hat can go. The Royal Ascot hat. It's an Ascot hat. Thank you. Yeah. Listen, I like the embroidery on the dress. That's what I enjoy. Everything else about it, she can go. Finally, let's talk about Stormzy. He is wearing Dior, and listen, I mean, I'm a bitch that loves a rib knit. I do really like the rib knit though. I like that it doesn't just come down like this, it actually comes across like this. And that's the thing about, you know, fashion is the devil is sometimes really in the details. Very subtle, devil in the details. We love to see it. Oh my fucking God. The pants I think are a bit baggy, to say the very, very least. Maybe they're intended to be that way, but I don't think they look particularly good. I'm not saying they had to be skin tight, but I think they could have been tailored a little bit better considering it's a menswear brand. Tailoring is normally quite important. And the shoes, you know, just a bit blech, whatever. But I like that rib knit. She's cute. So that is the end of our red carpet review. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'd love to know what you guys think about some of your favorite celebrities showing up to the Brits. It was very cool, very different, something that I enjoy doing. I will do them again, I'm sure. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and TTYL.